Hiya, welcome back to my booktube channel, Reading Euphoria. My name's Georgia, if you don't know, and today I will be doing a full spoiler review of The Game Begins by Rebecca Howie. So I got sent this book by Rebecca herself. She messaged me a couple of months ago via Instagram and she wondered if I would do a review for her. So she sent me this one and she then sent me the second one in the Sam Beckett series as well. So this is my review of the first one in the series. I'll be getting to the second one very soon, I hope. And yeah, I'm just gonna tell you my thoughts on it. So just to start with, I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars. So this book is a YA crime thriller book, and so it's right up my street anyway because I love mysteries and crime and everything that goes involved, so it was perfect for me to begin with anyway. Just to give you an idea of what this book is about, I'm going to read the blurb just because I'm not the best at kind of giving synopsis of books and kind of wrapping it up. I just wobble on for ages, so I thought it would just be best if I just read the blurb to you. So it's been 4 years since the car crash took away her father, and Sam Beckett's nightmares have returned with a vengeance. When her friend suggests she takes a PI course to distract herself, Sam agrees, but she soon realises that it won't be as simple as she expected when her first case leads to a woman being killed, her husband accused of the murder, and a series of text messages sent to Sam's phone which lead her to believe that her father's crash might not be the accident everyone thought it was. So that just summarises the book kind of just in a paragraph or so, and I actually think that it wraps it up perfectly. So Sam's father Daniel died 4 years ago in a car crash, and basically in the book, which I was a little bit confused about at first, so I actually had to message Rebecca on Instagram and ask her why. There's a lot of times where she calls her dad, and then she then also in the next breath calls him Daniel, which was confusing me a lot because she then has a stepdad, and I didn't really understand why she was calling her actual dad Daniel and dad at the same time. And Rebecca actually said to me it's because that when her dad left her, she resents him for leaving her, basically, for dying in this car crash, and some of the time that she doesn't actually call him dad anymore, which I actually thought was a really clever way to look at things. But I also thought that maybe if you are going to do that and you are going to have that reproach, then maybe stick to Daniel all the time rather than mixing between the two, because it does get a little bit confusing and it doesn't really make a lot of sense some of the time. So that is my first point about that. Sometimes during the story I did think that things came out of nowhere, and I know that is what you want in a mystery and a crime book, but it was almost like that there wasn't any build up and it kept happening. So I know that obviously you do want things to come out of nowhere, and that is great, but it seemed to just go from like 0 to 60 in like a second, especially when her friend Alex gets shot. It just seems so random, and I didn't really think that it benefited the story that much. It happened like 3/4 of the way through, I believe, and yeah, I just didn't really see any point to it. I obviously didn't see it coming, but I also wasn't like, oh my god, she's got shot, that's an amazing twist in the novel. It was just more of a bit like, well, that was unnecessary, and it then didn't even benefit anything going forward in the book, so it kind of was pointless, and she could have stayed alive and helped Sam solve the mystery and that. So yeah, I didn't really think that Alex's death had a point to it. At the start of the book, Alex says to Sam that an ornament in her house was broken, and there wasn't anything else broken, nothing else was taken, but her house was broken into. And this is what Alex says to Sam to try and get her to go into the PI course. And at first I was like, well, it's just a crappy little ornament, like that's just a really bad reason to try and get your friend, and it's not going to convince her at all. But in the end, a couple of these ornaments get broken that people have, and you then start to see the mystery unfold. I did actually think it was quite a clever way for Rebecca to do it, because it was such a little idea and a little a little object that no one really cared about to then try and get Sam to do it, and she was then like, okay, my friend was trying to convince me to do it by this like one little stupid thing, but it's actually is delve into a bigger mystery. So I did actually really like that, how it was just a tiny little thing and it was like a friend trying to convince another friend to try and get into something for a silly reason, but it did actually work really, really well, I thought. At times I thought that the relationship between Sam and Detective Marshall was a little bit all over the place. There was a lot of chopping and changing, whether they actually liked each other and kind of whose team Detective Marshall was on, whether he was betraying Sam, whether he was helping her, and it kind of felt like that, like one chapter he was helping her and the next he wasn't, and she hated him. So there was a lot of chopping and changing in their relationship, whether that they were friends or not, and this got a little bit confusing. In the end, I didn't really know what way was up or what way was down, so that was something that maybe if she was to correct the book, I would sort out their relationship a little bit more and kind of make it a little bit simpler, so then people then don't get lost whether they're actually friends and how it impacts the story and that. But I did actually really enjoy The Game Begins. The writer is so promising, and she did actually write this at such a young age. I think that she was like 18 when she wrote this, so for someone my age to write this, I think is astounding, and I think that she should be so proud of what she's come up with. The Game Begins is a great mystery, and although I have points of it, I have points for every single book that I read, so it's just highlighting them. It doesn't mean necessarily that they're bad points, it just means that they're points that has come up to me that I don't really like about the book. But all in all, the story was really, really good. It is very, very well written. At the end of each chapter, it kind of keeps going and going, and that really makes you want to read on, and it's not kind of like stoppy and starty. It is a very fast-paced book, and I think for a mystery you do need that. So that is another good quality about it, is that you do not get bored and there is always something new going on, and it doesn't just drag and drag and drag. So like I said, it is a very fast-paced book, so yeah, you've got to try and keep up with it. So this book did end on a little bit of a cliffhanger, so I am really, really interested to read the next book in the series, A Woman Scorned, and find out what happens next and the truth about her dad, because, you know, her dad turns up in the end and he's actually is alive. Sorry, just gave a massive spoiler away. But anyway, so that is, I think, will be kind of like the main part of the next book, so I'm really excited to read about that and solve the mystery of what happened with her father. So that just sounds really, really great, and I'm excited to get on to the next one. So I can't thank Rebecca enough for sending me these two books and welcome me into the world of the Sam Beckett mysteries, because I hadn't heard about these before. I highly recommend that you go and read them. Like I said, I have given them 4 out of 5 stars, so they are really, really good books and they are really interesting. So yeah, I would definitely go and pick them up, because, you know, you might find your next favourite YA mystery. So that is my review of The Game Begins by Rebecca Howie. I will be doing another video of like this one when I read A Woman Scorned. So yeah, you have to check that out once I've read that. So thank you very much again for Rebecca for sending me these books, and I will see you again soon in my next video. Bye!